Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you check the media today, you would hardly get to see information or news about how international students boost the UK economy by £41.9 billion. You also hardly get to see how migrant men were more likely to be employed than UK-born men in 2022. You will also hardly get to see information about how the employment rate of working-age migrant men is about 82%, while the UK-born, the employment rate is about 78%. Now, you hardly get to see information like this on the internet. The media, hardly amplify the fact that, legal immigrants actually contributing significantly, massively to the UK economy. Now, the only thing you get to see is how, the immigrants are taking up their jobs. The information you get to see is how, immigrants are not contributing to the economy, they're taking from the economy. How, you see news about how immigrants are having access to NHS care, having access to housing, and the British people are not getting the same access. Now, many of these individuals are not really well informed about what it takes to be a legal immigrant in the UK, the kind of benefit that we don't have access to, and it just doesn't make any sense. The only thing you see on the media is basically how immigrants are not contributing to the country and how the UK is becoming an island of strangers, which is quite weird. That's why in this video I'm going to be sharing the significant impact and contribution of immigrants to the UK economy. Full details. I mean, it took a whole lot of time gathering this information because you will hardly get to see this on the media. So I'm going to be sharing those statistics in this video just to kind of educate those out there thinking that immigrants are actually parasites to the UK economy, which in this real sense, it is a symbiotic relationship. We're giving to the economy and we're getting, and in most situations we're even giving more than we're getting back from the economy. So if you think this video interests you, don't go ahead and keep watching to the end. And if you're coming across my channel for the first time, do have to hit on the subscribe button to join the amazing growing family. And my channel subscribers, thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Amidst all of the change, in UK immigration policies, there's been lots of videos, lots of uncertainty, flying around. And I came across this particular video on TikTok, and it was quite impressive. I mean, this person broke down, the impact of immigrants and the contribution of immigrants to the UK economy.
Further to this, while they're busy dismantling the social care sector, the Prime Minister of this country goes in front of the nation and calls our colleagues, our overseas colleagues, foreign strangers. He calls them aliens. He calls them a squalid chapter in British history. I have one question. Would you let a foreigner look after your loved one? Yeah. Would you let an alien wash them and feed them when no one else can? Let me be clear. Migrants are not taking British jobs. They are filling unstaffed shifts.
Now, one of the things, immigrants have been able to contribute significantly to the UK is that international students, boost the economy by over £41.9 billion. I mean, the amount of money we pay as immigrants, to study in the UK is quite significant compared to home students. If you check, the fee for many of the undergraduate or postgraduate study program, immigrants were paying 4 times, sometimes even 5 times what the home student pay. So we pay significantly higher to the UK born. So the amount of money that we bring into the economy is massive. I mean, extremely massive in terms of cost. And since the postgraduate visa was opened up back in 2020, there's been a massive influx of international students coming into the UK, and we're contributing a whole lot in terms of value. Many universities in the UK are very much reliant or over reliant on the fees paid by immigrants. I mean, in the last couple of months, we've seen situations whereby some universities are beginning to close down because they can't afford to keep running the universities because of the decrease in the number of international students applying for different programs here in the UK. So yeah, UK universities rely so much on the fees coming from international students, as you can see. Now, there's also new figures showing economic benefits of international students rose from 31.3 billion to 41 billion between 2018-2019 to 2021-2022. I'm not even talking about 2023-2024 now. International students in Glasgow, London, Sheffield, Nottingham, Newcastle are among those to deliver the greatest financial contribution. On the average, each of the 650 parliamentary constituencies in the UK is 58 million per constituency better off because of international students, equivalent to about £560 per citizen. Now, even when even when accounting for dependent and other costs, international students are a huge net contributors to the UK economy. Every 11 non-EU students generate £1 million worth of net economic impact for the UK economy. Now, you would hardly see information like this on the media. This is not going to be projected by different news channel in the UK. You hardly get them talk about this because they really don't want to accept the fact that international students are contributing more to the economy than what they are getting back in return. Now, international students even pay this huge amount of money to study, and at the end they even find it difficult to get jobs. Sometimes even employers or potential employers even stereotype these individuals from being able to get access to job opportunities. Now, going away from international students, what about in the workforce? How are immigrants really contributing to the economy? Now, if you check out this information on the observatory website, you see that migrant men are more likely to be employed than UK born men in 2022, but migrant women are less likely to be in employment. Now, look at this information. In 2022, it says that the employment rate for working age migrant men is about 82%, was higher than that of UK born of 78%. Now, this figure, there's a massive gap now in 2024, based on the statistics released recently. Now, most region of origin groups had higher employment rates than UK born men. Among women, the overall employment rate for working age migrants was 71%, slightly lower for UK born 73%. However, EU born women had unusually high employment rates. You can see how this news is also reinforcing the fact that migrants tends to kind of work more, actually male migrants, than UK born citizens. Now, there's also information here saying that migrant workers eligible to receive unemployment benefits may not understand their entitlements or may be unfamiliar with the process of claiming or visiting job centers. Now, the truth is, migrants don't have access, especially if you're on a visa. We've got no access to public funds. Now, let's read this information. It says that some migrants are not eligible to claim benefits. We're not. Skilled worker visa, the most important information on our biometric resident permits is the fact that there's no recourse to public funds. We don't have access to free housing. We don't have access to anything free. Even NHS, we pay for it. I mean, we pay IHS for immigration health surcharge every year for us to be able to access NHS care. So when people say, oh, the migrants are the one taking over, we're unable to get appointments, we pay for this. It's not free for us. We pay an insurance for us to be able to access the healthcare benefits. So now, most non-EU citizens who are not permanent residents, are permanently settled residents, including skilled worker international students, are ineligible for income-based job seeker allowance or universal credit, as are EU citizens who moved into the UK after 31st of December 2020. So we don't have access to any of this universal credit, income-based job seekers allowance. We don't have access. So we can't even afford to stay out of a job because we have no access to any of these public funds. So when you're saying immigrants are taking over your job, I probably need a little bit of explanation to what that means exactly. Now, migrants are less likely to be unemployed for a long period because we don't have access to public fund. In 2020, 26% of those born in the UK who were unemployed have been so far over a year, compared to 20% of non-EU migrants and 50% of EU migrants. So we totally have access to public funds, and we can't afford to stay out of a job because our bills keeps increasing, keeps compounding on a daily basis, and we need to stay on the job. So we end up having to work to pay up our bills, obviously, while the UK bonds can afford to stay out of a job for over a year, and they get access to income-based allowance, which we don't have access to. So when people say we're getting, or we're being parasitic to the UK economy, please make me understand, it doesn't really make any sense in any way. Now, going into the workforce also, workers born in North America or India were more likely to be in high skilled occupations than UK born, while those born in new EU member states were more likely to be in low skilled occupations. And this is because many migrants are more educated than UK born. That's just the truth. You would hardly see UK born individuals who have got PhD, who have got master's degree, who are highly are educated. So many migrants are more educated, and they get to have access to more jobs, obviously, because most organizations would want to go for the best candidates for the role, which in most scenario you always say mostly migrants. Do you get what I mean? And if you go into, I've had conversation with recruiters who mentioned that when they put out a vacancy, 90% of those applying for those vacancies are non-EU citizens, like those from, the developing countries. And that's because those are the people that have the skills to do the job. So when they say we're not contributing to the economy, just make it make sense. You get what I mean? So these are some of the simple information that you rightly see on media. They hardly project this kind of information because they feel projecting this information would kind of reinforce the fact that immigrants are contributing more. I mean, it's understandable if the focus is illegal immigrants, those coming in through small boats who are seeking asylum and having access to some benefits that make sense. But targeting, most of the policies being implemented is actually targeting mostly those who are legal immigrants, those who are paying tax on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, as the case may be, those who are contributing massively, those who are paying huge amount of money to the UK economy. But anyway, those are some of the information you hardly get to see on the media. But on the flip side, you get to see more information, more news outlets talking about how immigrants are parasites, and forgetting that it's actually a symbiotic relationship between immigrants and the UK economy. If you have any thoughts about this, state your thoughts in the comment section. And if you're coming across my channel for the first time, come on, do well to hit on the subscribe button to join the amazing growing family. And my returning subscribers, thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate you guys. This will be the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you.